Welcome to Amy's Table. My guest today is Chef Paul Sturkey, someone who has dedicated decades to the craft of cooking and the art of hospitality. In this conversation, we're going beyond the plate, talking about what first drew him into the kitchen, what's kept that passion alive, and the life lessons that only a restaurant can teach. We'll explore what true hospitality really means, what the best restaurants understand about making people feel seen and cared for, and how the food world has evolved over the years, what's changed, and what never will. We'll also step into the personal side of Paul's story, family, creativity, and the perspective that comes from a long, meaningful career. If you've ever wondered what it really takes to build a life in the kitchen, this conversation is for you. This is Amy's Table. Pull up a seat. Hi, I'm Amy Tobin, and Chef Paul Sturkey is joining me today, and I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad to call you a friend.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm honored to be here and be on your new podcast. I'm
It's-
very, very excited and very excited for you.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, I said to you, I'm excited to talk to you about
Mhm.
this because it's so many of the kinds of conversations we just have,
Yes.
which I think is great.
Okay.
But, people refer to you as one of the goats of Cincinnati. I mean, truthfully, one of the true.
Does that mean I'm old? Is that what you're saying?
You're a young goat.
Okay.
You're a kid.
A kid, yes. That's a good one.
But, before we even talk about
Mhm.
food or restaurants,
Mhm.
where did this begin for you? What was that time where you realized this might be a career? Your first falling in love with food?
Ah, boy. So falling in love with food was my whole life. Career-wise, I went to a high school that had a vocational wing added to it the year that I went there in Akron, Ohio, and I signed up for the food class there, and I was still crazy, junior in high school and having fun, and but I would be entered into these competitions, and I would be winning these competitions, and I wasn't even trying. I was like going in there just half-heartedly, just whatever. And then I went to work at night in a restaurant in Akron called Yanko's Valley Pub. And I was like the middle expediter, and I was coordinating from the grill and the saute. And it just started to be like fun. And I kind of liked doing it, and it felt really good. And then I went to a private country club, and I worked for a guy named Ron Perkins in Akron. And he's the one that told me about the Culinary Institute. And that country club, you can see all kinds of amazing food and buffets and all that kind of stuff, and all the different types of stations. So you had the saucier and the entremetier, and you had the pastry shop. And so I could see all of these different avenues. And I think it just kind of came to me. So, yeah.
But you
I
were
think all that
naturally talented
together.
from the beginning. I
Well,
mean,
I
it
thi-
sounds like if you were winning stuff right away.
Yeah, maybe, my father was a chef, and we lost them early on.
I forgot that.
Yeah, but I didn't know what career meant or whatever, but obviously I think it was in my blood.
Yeah.
And my mom was a home ec teacher, so,
Oh
it's
gosh,
being
I
around,
forgot that too.
yes,
Okay, well, you
being
had no
around food.
choice.
I had no choice. That's a good way to put it, actually.
We
Yeah,
were just
yeah,
going there.
yeah. So,
Kitchens
yes,
are intense places.
yes.
I mean, the show The Bear, they're
Mm-hmm.
not kidding,
No,
right?
they're not kidding. That's pretty realistic
Yeah.
most of the time.
How did you survive the intensity, and what did the intensity teach you when you were very young?
Yeah. I surviving it. I was head down, get it done kind of a person. I wanted to show people that I could do it because it was very competitive, and it's still competitive, but then it was really competitive. Fast, could you literally peel a carrot, peel onions, do a bucket of this, do what the chef wanted you to do, and just put your head down and just really, get it done. Because once you got the basic work done, the basic prep done, then you could go to the chef and say, "What else do you want me to do?" And that was a way to learn. Because if he said, "Oh, okay, he's quick," so the chef's taking note of all of this while you are busy just, doing the prep and getting ready for service.
Did you bring that same approach when you were the one running the show all the years later? Because we should talk about this. Was your first restaurant Sturkey's the first one you owned?
I own Pigalle.
Pigalle before
yeah,
that. Oh
down
my
on
God,
there.
Paul.
Yeah, partner
How
with
did I
Jimmy
skip
Girardi
that?
from Jay's.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we opened that together. That was the first one that I had some skin in the game.
Right.
So yeah, and then Sturkey's was after that.
Was that the first one? You were the leader in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you bring that approach that you watched these chefs that you were working for when you were younger? What did you bring from that to your approach?
Yeah, it was a combination, Amy, really of the chefs that helped bring me up, and then also my training at the Culinary Institute in New York. Those chefs were pretty intense, primarily European chefs. Doing the old style European. You'd cut a pile of carrots and they would just go throw them into the garbage and
Right,
say
and
start over
smack you in
because
the
they're
head at the
not
same.
perfect,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So, but I took away the precision, but I also took away that I didn't want to be like them, and I wanted to be a coach and a leader versus screaming, madman. So, yeah, so I think it's a kind of a combination, kind of blended my career and my style points from all these people. You're what would they say? You're the average of the people you surround yourself with.
Right.
So yeah, so I think
I
that's
am
why they
so
ended that.
glad you didn't
So
come out of all that as one of those mean guys because anybody who knows you, one of your most compelling traits is your positivity and your kindness. And as you say, you wanted to be a coach and a mentor.
yeah.
I mean, how have your young chefs that have worked with you responded to that?
I think that a lot of them took the same traits away. A lot of them, not a lot of them, but some still call me and some still ask me questions and things like that. But I think that they just kind of learned how important it was for throughput, for following up. So if you ask someone to do something, you have to come back around and make sure that they're doing it the way that you want it to. Because you can explain it and they can say, I got it. But then you walk away and you come back and you go, no, that's not the way that, we talked about. So, a lot of times it was, I think that same kind of training went out into the world. And, I started the Cincinnati Culinary Arts Academy when I first came to Cincinnati in 1980. And
Go.
yeah. And again, teaching people exactly how to do things there. That kind of also, I took that when I went into my own kitchens, to teach that way as well. So I would cut a large dice and then I'd put it on the top of the cutting board and I'd say, that's the size we want. And then I would come back around and grab one of theirs and put it next to mine. And it was a teaching moment for them. And
Absolutely.
then they got it because they could see it, hear it, do it, and then repeat it.
And if they had that passion for excellence that you had, they wanted that information. It was
Yes.
the slackers you could weed out, right? Who didn't care.
Yeah,
I
and then
mean,
and those that maybe didn't know that this is what they wanted to do, but
right.
the more time I spent with them, the more they were like, "Huh, maybe a light bulb went off," and then they started to get into it a little bit more.
Well, you said that, part of what you were teaching and mentoring and modeling was the throughput and the finishing up and following up.
hmm
And since we've been talking over the past many
hmm
months, one of my favorite things that you say is because I said I would.
hmm Yep.
So that's a way that I see that you bring your life in the kitchen to your personal life. Talk a little bit
Yeah.
about this because I said I would.
Yeah. So I was at a church and they had a guest pastor that day and they were talking about being responsible and doing things and follow through and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sitting there and I get bumped by the person next to me and they're handing me a basket. And this basket had a bunch of business cards in it, but they were all um, rubber band together. There's probably 50 business cards and a basket of them. And they wanted you to take a stack of those cards and pass it on down. So then all the cards said, Amy, it was a business card size piece, and it just said at the bottom, because I said I would. So the pastor was just talking about that. If you say something and you commit to something, then be that person and do that. And then this made you commit to it. So when you met with somebody and say, I'm going to do that, then they wanted you to like write it on there and say, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to follow up with you. And it just became a mantra for me. So I love it. And it's just the way that people is and people should be.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that aren't that way. But, even if you have to get back to someone to say, I can't do what we talked about, you have to at least get back to them.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
can't say you're going to do something and just
Yeah.
totally let it go.
Right.
Well, you gave me one of those cards, and it's
Yeah.
on my refrigerator.
There you go.
I mean, it's. I love a quote. I love a
Yeah, me
statement.
too.
I love a
I
mantra
love quotes.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So you have had this life in the kitchens and a career that has expanded. Do you want to say the number? Because I'm not sure. You want me to?
Many decades.
28,
What?
30 years?
Years? 40?
40 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, but yes.
What is something that
Hmm.
someone who has not been a chef in the industry will never know? What's that sort of insider, unless you're a chef, you just aren't going to know? I mean, whether it's the
Yeah.
experience, whether it's what life's really like in the kitchen, what's something you gotta have
Yeah.
been there to know it?
I think there's a realization that you cannot do it alone. You need a team. You need to
Again,
be
life, right?
yes, right? Yep, you need to, make sure that you are taking the team, where you want them to go. You said sayings, and I love sayings, and you meet people where they are and take them where you want them to go. And so that's I think a chef coming in to the industry or someone, that is a chef that's trying to figure it out, I think that's what you need to do because you can come in, with this clear vision, this is what I'm going to do. But once you start training people and start to um, see where they are, they may not be able to do it as fast as you, or they may not be do it as to do it as thorough as you. But if you meet them where they are and take them where they want to go, show them value, then they start to come along. And I think that you just have to always be a teacher, you always have to be a coach, and you have to show appreciation for your team.
Hospitality is
Yes.
something that you and I have talked about a
Hmm.
bunch. And, I've never been a restaurant chef. I worked in a restaurant
Hmm.
as a kid, but
Yeah.
that's not my experience.
Yeah.
Mine is more the home cook
Hmm.
and cooking as entertainment. But hospitality falls into like so many avenues in our life,
Hmm.
not just a restaurant
Right.
experience. But what, if you had to describe what hospitality means to you,
Mhm.
how would you do that?
I think hospitality is making the guest, not the customer, feel appreciated, welcome, and seen. Um, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you need shelter, you need food, and you need to be seen. So I
Right.
think that they need to be appreciated and recognized and all those types of things. And I think that coming into a restaurant, your staff has to recognize that person coming in. That's hospitality. Opening the door is hospitality. Even if you're not opening the door, but you're greeting them right when they open the door,
Right.
making good eye contact, making them feel good. I used to say to my staff, people are miserable by nature, and we need to, and they would all laugh, which I still laugh when I even hear it sometimes. But we need to take them and transport them to somewhere because they came there to be happier than when they left wherever they came from, right?
Yeah.
So I think hospitality and in the little details, just the little details. I think eye contact is
Oh my
extremely
God.
important.
Yes.
And, I was a big front of the house trainer in my restaurants because I wasn't able to see them. So I had to make sure that, in the pre shifts and in all the pre opening training, that we really went over these things and then make them feel the importance of that. So, for example, you have a server and he's got a section or she has a section, but the other servers don't. But when those servers are walking by another coworker's tables and section, make eye contact with the guest because that server could have just been there. Everything is great. Thank you. We're going to eat. And then you drop your fork.
Right.
That server's gone. But the next server's coming down the aisle. And if you oh, excuse me, can I get another fork? I dropped it. So make eye contact. That's hospitality.
Yeah.
Our saying at Sturkey's was the name brings you in, the experience brings you back.
That is so true. So Sturkey's, I tell you all the
Yeah.
time, that remains my favorite restaurant in
Yeah.
all of Cincinnati to this
Yeah.
day.
Thank you.
And it
That
wasn't
means a lot.
just the food, which
Hmm.
was amazing.
Hmm.
It was definitely the hospitality. I can remember feeling seen,
Hmm.
feeling made to be special. Now, it was my 40th birthday, and you guys knew that, which helped. But I remember
Yeah.
the lighting. I
Hmm.
remember the comfort of the seats. I remember the care of things being placed in front of me. I remember you and Pam coming
Hmm.
out and wishing me a happy birthday with the
Hmm.
dessert plate,
Hmm.
which I don't think was just for me. I think you did that for people. And it was so, just everything about it. It
Hmm.
was, I did come for the name, but I came back because it was just
Yeah.
comfortable, not just delicious and made me feel special. I
Hmm.
was so comfortable.
Yeah. Thank you.
It,
Thank you. And that's what we went out. That's what we set out to do in all of our restaurants, even the
yeah.
casual encore restaurants. We still wanted everybody to feel casual. I mean, feel appreciated and feel comfortable,
Right.
and to just know that someone's paying attention and taking good care of them.
But that's, I think, the key is that it doesn't have to be a fine
It
dining
does not.
restaurant for
Absolutely not.
hospitality at all. Have you heard about the AI helpers going into the earphones in the fast food restaurants?
I have.
Okay, I understand there's probably
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of feelings around that. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, hospitality means saying hello. Thank
Yes.
you for coming. Thank
Yes.
you. Have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you, I'm so trained to say thank you to people that sometimes I'll say thank you at some place like that. And the person will go to me, "You're welcome."
Yeah, I know. The other part about hospitality too is saying goodnight, opening the door when they leave, and thank them for coming. How many times have you gone to a restaurant and spent a couple $100 and they don't care if you walk out the door or not.
Right.
You just spent a couple of $100 and 2 hours of my day in your establishment, and no one cares, but they're talking at the host stand, and here you go. I mean, saying goodbye. When we used to have, people used to call the restaurants, I would always say, make sure that before you put them on hold, you ask permission. May I put you on hold? Yes. Thank you. So the last thing they heard before they got put on hold was thank you. That's hospitality.
That's hospitality. And hospitality goes way beyond a dining establishment.
Right.
That should happen at the dental office.
Right.
That should
Mhm.
happen at the DMV. I mean,
Yeah.
let's call it out.
Yeah.
It should be people being hospitable to one
Yes.
another.
Yes. We need more of that today more than ever.
Well, you and I had a brief meeting
Mhm.
at, was it North Star
Yes, North Star in Kenwood.
in
Yeah.
Kenwood?
Yeah, the new one.
And this
Yeah.
drives home, it can be
Yeah.
casual.
Right.
We were both so blown away
Mhm.
by everything that was happening around us. It wasn't crazy, but I mean,
Mhm.
like the greeting,
Right.
the waitress,
Mhm.
what we could see in the kitchen.
Yes.
You were noticing how the expediting was happening and all
Right.
of that. Can you go to a restaurant without looking around and sort of mentally, I don't want to say judging, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you go and just
Yeah.
relax?
I can go relax, but the restaurateur in me never leaves. So I have to ignore or just try to block it out and just have a good time. I guess that's the same thing as ignore. But if it's dirty or gross or whatever, I mean, I have to say something.
Yeah.
I have to say
Tell
something.
your $20 bill story.
Oh, my $20 bill story. So yeah, so when we had the pre-shift meetings, they were always about 30 to 40 minutes before the 5 o'clock, we'll call it, and all the servers needed to do their pre-work. So they would go and polish the silverware, glasses, fold the napkins, make sure everything was straight, and then I always had them clean the bases of the table because it gets dusty and all that, or you may find a wrapper down there or
Right.
whatever. Sometimes we found somebody's ring and their watch. So, you never know, right? But it was like, make sure that that's clean. That's important. So, I would go to one of the tables in one of the sections and I would hide a $20 bill down. I wouldn't hide it. It was visible,
Right.
but I put it down at the base of the table. And I'd go in, how's everybody doing? Welcome, this is a Friday night. We have all this going on. Everyone do their side work. Everyone wipe down the base of their tables. Yes, chef. Yep, we did. Yep, yep. And I said, well, who's at table 9? Who's got the table 9 section? I do. I says, well, you're going home tonight. And we brought everybody out and showed them that. That means you didn't do it. And so that's really important, that kind of detail. I didn't do it to punish someone. I just did it to reinforce how important
An
those
important
types of
point.
details are.
That's right.
Because here's the other thing too. You go to a restaurant and you sit at a table, you can now look down at the base of another table and see something, right? It may not be your table, but anything visual in the whole restaurant. Pam and I would meet up at the restaurant. I would leave and say goodnight to everybody at say 8 o'clock. And I'd go around and she'd have my change of clothes in the car and I would change clothes and we'd walk in the front door as guests and be seated. And we would sit at different places in the restaurant so we could see, oh, there's a cobweb. That light is out. That base is dirty.
Man,
And then we
that
would
is
use that.
hospitality. That is an eye for detail. That
Yeah.
is a drive to delight the guest. And I
Yes.
saw that in all of your
Yeah.
restaurants. I
Thank
really
you.
did. And
Yeah.
I think that's so amazing.
Yeah. And we would share with them, we are not trying to punish anybody. We're not trying to catch you do something wrong. We want to catch you do something right.
Right.
And so, even the server, coming to the table, we had a 1 minute check back rule, and it's so important. How many times have you gone to a restaurant, you get your food, and then you need something, and then the server never comes back?
Like my sauce,
Yeah,
and you're
or
it's
it could be
going cold.
ketchup,
Yeah,
or it could
yeah,
be whatever, right?
yeah.
But or you taste it and you're like, oh, and there might not be a salt and peppers on that table, so you need salt and pepper, and that, but the server does not come back. So we have a 1 minute rule. You stand off to the side, you see them take their first bites, and you come back. And that's what it was about. So you had an issue, you had to fix it. Maybe the steak was undercooked or overcooked, or whatever. And so, the 1 minute rule, that is so hospitality, and that is so needed. And it doesn't have to be an expensive restaurant, because it's just that check
It's
back,
just that
you
check
know?
back.
Yeah.
Also, part of hospitality, like if you have a bad waiter or waitress,
Mm-hmm.
or something isn't right, your table is rocking,
Mm-hmm.
you as the patron are also feeling a little on edge for the business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, our waiter's not any good. Oh
Right.
my God, the
Right.
table's
Right.
falling apart, and
Right.
you're on edge. I
Yes.
used to say to my team when we would do like big cooking classes or
Mm-hmm.
big presentations, when they had it right,
Yeah.
which was a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it was like watching a ballet
Yes.
or listening to a symphony. They
Yes.
looked so capable and so professional, and it made them feel good. And guess what? The people witnessing it were also
In all,
taking part
right?
in, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas when it would go south, it would always be sort of like what you said.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have $20 bills tucked, but it was like you could see the SOPs that were not followed
Right. Right.
would
Yes.
lead to it. And
Yes.
all that preparation and all that care and all that training really added up to
Mhm.
something amazing. I
Yeah.
loved everything about it.
Yeah. Thank you.
When you first walk into a restaurant, how do you what's an indicator to you that you're going to have a great experience or maybe not so great?
I think the greet, you have to greet the guest right away. So if I walk in and no one's there or whatever, I think that's kind of like, okay, maybe they're busy or whatever, maybe. And then it's almost like the pace or the rhythm of the restaurant. If servers are walking with a pretty, brisk pace, then something's going
Right.
awry somewhere.
Right.
But if you go in and it's this feeling and it's flowing and there's no chaos, then you feel like, okay, this is really good. And you mentioned it earlier yourself, the music, the lighting, okay, those types of things.
All part of
Because
it.
again, you're coming in to relax. You're coming in to go get more happy. Okay, and so you can, if you walk in and it's kind of hectic and that you're like, oh boy, what's going on in this restaurant? You can just spot it immediately, and then you sit down and you start looking around, and then they don't bring you a menu, and then all these things, your whole experience gets delayed because of that. It's okay. It happens in a restaurant. I'm not going to say our restaurants are perfect every day, and there's no such thing.
Right. We're all human.
But someone has to acknowledge that you're there, and at least say, "I'll be right with you," and at least make you feel seen and welcome. So yeah.
And it never hurts if something is off that night.
Mhm.
If chef sends a little something to the table because
Yes,
your
a little
entree is going to
gift.
be late,
Yes.
or we wanted to give you a dessert. Thanks for your
Mhm.
patience for our busy evening.
Mhm.
That just fixes everything.
Correct.
It
Yes.
really does.
Yeah.
So, what are some indicators to you that a service team just totally gets it? You're a patron. What are
Yeah.
some things that happen that you're like, this guy, this gal gets it?
Well, I think I go by appearance first. Okay, I'd love to see a clean apron, a clean uniform, kind of controlled look. Today it's a lot looser than when I was growing
Right.
up. You can have the piercings and you can have the tattoos and all that. That's fine. And as long as your hair is controlled and that it's I don't know, more just put together. Whatever your look is, have it be put together.
Elevated.
All right.
Yep.
Clean uniform is very important, and then coming and asking if you've been there before. I think I always like that. It's either welcome or welcome back,
Right.
and I think that's a good touch point. And then getting that drink right away. Water, cocktail. I'll come right back and check on you and answer any questions about the menu. So now you're taking the guest on this journey, and they have you,
They're in
right?
charge.
They're in charge. They have you,
Yeah.
right?
You feel like you're
Yeah,
being
yeah, and you
handled in a
really
good way.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And so Yeah, I think those are kind of the key things, and if a manager is the manager running around and, picking stuff off the floor, I don't know, but that's also, they have to make eye contact with you. They
Yeah.
have to know that you're there and you have to know that they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It almost starts, while that may not be the intention, it almost starts to
Hmm.
feel insulting when you're left in no man's land for a
Correct.
while.
Right.
That's very hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's an experience that you've had?
Hmm.
It could be locally, it could be
Hmm.
wherever, internationally, any of your travels that a restaurant experience that's really going to stay with you. Like my Sturkey's
Yeah.
experience
Well,
is
yeah.
staying with me forever.
Yeah.
What's an experience that's really going to stay with
Oh,
you?
geez. Might go back a little ways because I think my Charlie Trotter experience in
Oh,
Chicago when I proposed to Pam was an amazing experience. I called ahead. I said, Charlie, I'm going to propose to a pastry chef, and I don't want to wait till the end of the meal because it's a 13-course meal, and I'm going to be a mess, and she's going to wonder what's wrong with me. And so he said, well, just when you get there, give the ring to the manager. So sh- we get sent to our table. The manager puts her hand back, and I put the ring in there. So the first course that comes out was dessert. So it was two chocolate domes with dried fruit around the chocolate domes, and they had a little ring on the top where you could lift the chocolate dome off. And the waiter lifted the chocolate dome off, and I said, Pam, will you marry me? And she says, who knew about this? I said, did my parents know about this? Did your mom know about this? And I said, Pam, if you just say yes, I'll tell you everything. And I look up and the chocolate's starting to melt down the waiter's hand. And he says, I'll tell Charlie it's a go. We just had the greatest meal. And,
oh,
13 courses, like I said, and just amazing. But that was a very amazing thing. And then the other one was actually on our honeymoon when we were in France, and we walk in and they say bonjour, and we said hello because we didn't know French. And they went right into English. It made you just feel good. The menu they brought you was in English. The
yes.
service was amazing. They paid great attention to you and that type of thing. And here, this was over 30 years ago, and I still remember those key things that made you feel special. Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah.
That's absolute
Yeah.
hospitality. Well, speaking of your wife, who is also a pastry chef,
Yes.
and now your daughter, Marissa, is
Mhm.
a influencer. Mitchell's a graphic designer, right?
Graphic design, he writes music, creates music and does a lot of graphic work, yeah.
What has
Yeah.
it been like for you to watch your kids
Mhm.
go on to creative paths as well?
I think it's great. I mean, it's been one of the blessings of life, and they're both good people, and then they're both driven. So they both, want to do the next best thing or the next thing, and they're always looking for the next opportunity. So I think for that, they got that Sturkey drive in them. Because I'm always doing that too. I don't want to retire. I want to rewire. So I
I like
just want
that.
to. But to see them just do it and surround themselves with good people too, I think it's been great just to see them go and do. And we get together and we just have fun, and we make a phone tower with our phones so that nobody's on the phone when we're
Oh, that's
together at
smart. We
dinner,
need to
right?
do that
Yeah.
ourselves.
So,
Well,
and
I
I could be guilty of
reached
that too. Marissa's like, Dad, phone tower. I'm like, okay,
phone
yeah.
down,
So,
Dad.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Well, I reached out to Pam and Marissa and Mitchell.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Paul Sturkey, this is your life.
Uh-oh.
No, I asked them
Hmm.
what kind of questions I should ask you.
Holy crap.
And Mitchell said, being a professional chef, what casual and quick meals do you like to make at the end of a long day?
Did he really
He
now?
did
Oh,
now.
wow. Quick and casual for me is going to be something with pasta, probably. And whatever the protein is in the fridge, chicken or whatever, put it all in one skillet. That's the key. Put it in a skillet, saute it with onions and garlic and tomatoes, whatever I kind of have, and then just toss it with pasta and a little cheese and just sit down and be really happy with
I'm
that.
sure everyone's pasta at home is going to be just like that. You know what, Paul? I will never forget when you came on a little segment I used to have. I can't remember if it was 5 or 12 or what it was way back
Mm-hmm.
when. And you taught me Kalubiak. Am
Mm-hmm.
I saying that right?
Yes, yes.
Which is the Russian
Uh-huh.
dish
Yeah.
wrapped in phyllo,
Right.
and it
Salmon.
was
Mm-hmm.
salmon and so beautiful. I ended
Mm-hmm.
up doing a variation of that
Yeah.
that's in my cookbook, totally different. I mean, easier.
Yeah.
But I remember you saying it's key. Any bit that little crisp of pastry that falls away has to taste good.
Mm-hmm.
The salmon has to taste good.
Mhm.
It has to taste good all together
Yes.
and all the elements separately. And I
Yes.
just remember thinking, that was amazing. And I don't remember if you were the person who said, put flavor inside the layers. I can't believe I thought
Yeah.
that up on my
Yeah.
own. But so my salmon,
Mhm.
I would do phyllo, snip over dill, grate over lemon, another layer of phyllo,
Mhm.
and keep going.
Right.
And I would think of you, I'm like,
Is
every
that right?
single bite
Yeah.
tastes
Yeah.
good.
Well, the old
So
Colonel Sanders story where, the original 13 spices in Colonel Sanders fried chicken. And the reason that he was so successful with his fried chicken is because a lot of people will just season the chicken and then bread it and fry it. Okay? He seasoned the chicken, the flour, the eggs, the breading, okay? And then in those seasonings, they added up to 13 different seasonings. But if you think about it, so now the chicken has seasoning, the flour has seasoning, the egg has seasoning, the breadcrumbs have seasoning.
it's all
It's all
flavorful.
going together. You're not allowing one of those elements to carry the flavor profile for the entire dish. So that's
I
kind
hope
of where
that
that
it
goes.
sticks with
So
somebody listening
yeah,
because that can really,
yeah. Season every layer. Just
season
always
it
be
all.
careful with the amount of salt.
Right.
Yeah.
And seasoning kind of can build and be nuanced as
Right.
well. You
Yeah.
don't do it necessarily all at first.
Right.
You can keep
Yeah.
going.
Based on what you're doing. Yeah.
Well, here's what Marissa, she said, what traits did you hand down to each of your kids?
Really? Um,
Really?
I would say, because I said I would, be organized, be on time or early, and give a little more than people anticipate you giving, right? Surprise them with that firm handshake or the detail and the follow up and the follow through.
So I asked Pam and the
Hmm.
kids, as you know, and Pam said I should ask you what's your favorite thing to cook for when the whole family gets together.
Oh, that's easy. Braised short ribs, mashed potatoes, roasted carrots.
Mm,
Every single time we get together, it's the fun thing to do, and it's the one that everybody just absolutely loves and cleans their plates.
comfortable
Comfortable
comfort
food.
food.
Yes.
What's it like sharing a life, a career, a family, a home, a kitchen with another professional chef?
Oh, you mean Pam?
Yes.
Um, you know what? It's actually been fantastic. And it is because we both went to the Culinary Institute. We both come from the foundation of the same place, be it training, taste profiles. Sometimes we can argue on taste profiles. I'm sorry, we have discussions. We don't have arguments. We have discussions. And we both love travel. We both love good wine. We both love a good, movie or show. I have to stay out of her way though,
She
for
heard
sure,
you
when
say
she's
arguments.
yeah. So here comes the ambulance. And so no, it's great because we just
Well,
we've
the
been
fact
together a
that
long
you're
time.
training, I mean, I think that's deeper than people realize. I often think about professional chefs who have been highly trained,
Mm-hmm.
almost like the military. There is a sense of decorum, a
Mm-hmm.
sense of how you present yourself. And,
Yes.
if Pam is from there, she's also going to be a because I said I would
Mm-hmm.
person,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
With
without
an
question.
eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's great. You guys
Yeah.
are one of those,
Yeah.
you're the goat couple.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
really, I
Yeah.
love it. Well, we
Thanks.
talked a little bit about your positive outlook, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that can't be stated enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I admire about you so
Mm-hmm.
very
Thank
much.
you.
And Marissa said I should ask you, what's the positive saying or mantra that you live by?
Oh, really, Marissa? Okay. One of them, I think, is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Love that one.
I think that's what she
That's
might
a
be
good one.
alluding to
I know you have a
because,
neon sign that we'd also have to bleep out if you say what it actually is. I don't know
oh,
that's what Marissa thought, but I think of that with you.
yes, that could be. It's
Do you
the
want to say
initials
it?
are LFG.
Yes. Let's
Yes,
go.
let's go. Yes, yes. I love that one a lot. So yeah, I use that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you've had a long career.
Mm-hmm.
You've had a notable career. I mean, you've done
Mm-hmm.
media, you've done radio, television, you've had restaurants, you've
Mm-hmm.
run teams, you've worked with big corporations. I mean, you've done so much. What is sort of your takeaway when you look back over this long and storied career?
Wow. I'm thankful, blessed, energized still, that I still am passionate about the industry and still want to do things in the industry. Um, but I think the mentors and everybody who worked with me or saw something in me I did not see in myself. You know, when I look back to if I look at a ladder, the rungs of the ladder, all those things got me to where I really wanted to be, and that was owning a restaurant and being a chef in a restaurant. So I just look back at all the blessings, really.
If a young chef came to you today and asked for some insight, what advice would you give them?
I would ask why they want to do it. Start with the why. I'm really serious. Start with the why, and then I would encourage them to travel, try to stage in a restaurant, which is go and work for,
Yeah.
for eating, for meals, as many places as you can, as many different cuisines as you can. Keep a good log, just a journal of the best learnings that you've had. And if possible, I know it's maybe an early stage person going into the industry, but what is your end goal exit strategy if possible, if you get into it? Because it is a long, grueling career. And so you don't want to be an old person with broken down feet and legs and a back still cooking on the line.
Absolutely.
What is the exit strategy? It's a young person's game. Yes.
Well, that was a perfect
Uh-huh.
segue because actually, when you think about it, you aren't retired. You want to rewire, not retire.
Mhm.
But Marissa asked me to ask you what's next for you when you do
Ah.
retire.
I think that I would like to have a podcast, and I want the podcast to focus on the food and beverage industry, and I want to talk to experts in the industry, learn about, what was your hard times, what are the good times, how are you still in the game, and then what would your outlook be to the future of the industry and of helping people to navigate the challenges that they have today in a restaurant. So I think it could be a
I mean, that's
podcast in my
it's
future.
like what you've done. It's like
Yeah.
your approach to being the boss in the kitchen. It's like your
Mhm.
approach to life. It's the
Yeah.
perfect.
Hospitality.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
perfect thing for
Yeah.
you, and to mentor
Yeah.
and to
Right. And restaurants struggle, so I want to make them struggle less because it's
I
a
love
crazy
that,
industry.
Paul.
So
I
thank
love
you.
it. And
Yeah.
then it'll help all of us who
Mhm.
dine because
Right.
we're going to have a chance to eat
Yeah.
in restaurants that may have taken some of your great advice. Well, I'm going to ask you one final
Okay.
question. When you look back on your career and your
Mhm.
life in food, what are you very most grateful for?
Ooh. Again, all the people that helped me along the way. Um, Opening my first restaurant was amazing. That was a great thing to see my name on that sign. Um, Meeting my wife and, just being in it as long as I've been able to be in it. It's great.
It's been a good run and it ain't ending
you,
yet, right?
getting
I
me-
know. See,
Don't
that's
do
what
that.
I'm trying to do. I
Don't
want
do
to do a
that.
Barbara
No,
Walters.
don't-
If you were
don't
a
do
tree,
that.
I loved
But,
talking to you
yeah, thank
today,
you.
and
Thank you.
I hope
Thanks
you'll
for
come
having
back
me.
again. Maybe you'll invite me on
Yes.
yours.
Yes, I will. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. You're on the list. You're on the list. But I'd love to have you.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Chef Paul Sturkey.
And thanks for having me. So, thanks.
And thanks for joining us today. And don't forget, there's always a seat for you at Amy's table.